What up, Hangout gang? We still in these trades from this morning. If you watched the live trade show this morning, we were in the red, and now we are in the green, right? We in the green. Okay, so we only got one red. I did get stomped out on Bitcoin, and so I got back in it, and we did hit X Pen, as you can see. We hit X Pen for 54% profit. Okay, and then we got into it. We double back, double back on it. All right, and so we're back in X Pen on a long, and you see we're currently down 20 right now. So still live trades from this morning, and we are still in it. So I wanted to go back live just to show y'all that we are still in these trades and still doing it. Okay. I'm looking at X Pen right now on the 15 minute and looking good on the RSI. Just on the 1 minute right here is coming down, but we have a hammer right here just showing. So I expect for that to bounce to come again. Okay. We almost got stomped out when it came down to here, but we survived it, and so we're still in it. You can see now, pump.fun, we're up $8 now, and Bitcoin we're up $1 and so. So yeah, come trade with me. See what's going on X. Abu Dhabi has signed a deal to buy 49% of Trump-backed World Liberty Finance for $500 million for the Wall Street Journal. Interesting. Let's go back and look at these trades. See if we got some more movement. Need y'all to bounce, bounce. Give me a bounce. Z-Beck. Yeah, I really like Z-Beck. If you haven't checked out that video, check out that video that we just dropped today on Z-Beck. Did a deep dive into that. Something that I really want to, I really like, interested in.
Can you double click there and explain? And it was the different use cases between RLUSD and XRP. Maybe can you double click there and explain or summarize how do you see different individual use cases with one and the other?
Yeah. First of all, I think this is important to understand the difference because some misinformation, as again back to the tribalism point, some people I think misinterpreted our view. We remain completely committed to the XRP ecosystem for a whole bunch of reasons. It's an incredibly efficient blockchain, and obviously we own a lot of XRP. We are totally committed. As a reminder, XRP is the native token on the XRP ledger. It's required for gas,
Getting that
reserves,
bounce.
accounts of ledger.
Oh,
But simply put,
that
XRP
bounce.
is needed to use the XRP ledger. For
Let's go.
Ripple and how we use it in our go-to-market as a cross-border payments, we use it as a bridge asset. It's very, very, very fast and nearly free for kind of per transaction basis. And we use it globally, and where currency conversions are less popular, if there's less liquidity, and that way it can complement a stable coin. So moving to the other side, Ripple has used stable coins for years, and we were using Tether, we were using USDC. And as time went by, we kind of asked ourselves, well, given how we at one point we said publicly we were minting 20% of all USDC. And so we kind of asked ourselves, well, wait a minute, could we participate in this market? And I think while we probably will still use other technologies at various points, I think we felt like there's a real role for us to play here. And look, stable coins are required for on-chain payments. And as more and
Mhm.
more assets get tokenized on the XRP ledger, I think stable coins are going to be required. And that's partly evidenced even by the Ondo announcement from earlier today.
Well, we have still a lot to explore, and I think
To be answering some questions. Why do you paint couples in all of your landscapes?
Rumor alerts. Ripple could deploy 11 billion to acquire Circle in a bold move to outbid Coinbase. Interesting. Interesting.
Can't see it, you need to look around for just a moment. Can't see quantum shift happening. And if you can't see it, you need to look around for just a moment. Why are so many people living broke right now?
We're all feeling inflation right now.
Americans are paying the price for rising inflation.
And many people don't exactly know why.
The more dollars that get printed, the more that gets put into circulation, the higher the prices of all of these assets are going.
It's an old, archaic banking system.
It's pretty apparent at this point that we're in a transition.
It seems like we're on the brink of a major collapse. I think it's almost undeniable.
The system has to.
It started quietly. No big launch, no hype, just a coin moving faster than anyone expected. By 2025, $10 trillion had moved outside the traditional SWIFT banking network. Banks were worried. XRP was different. No miners, no borders, just speed. The question, can technology break what's considered unbreakable? Years before Bitcoin was a name, Ryan Fugger was working on an answer. His vision was simple, radical. Give people the power to create their own money. In 2004, he coded it into RipplePay.com, a small site with a big idea: community credit outside the bank's grip. Time passed. The world moved toward blockchain. In another corner of the web, Jed McCaleb was building something different. A digital currency that didn't need the waste of mining, just trust and consensus. McCaleb found Chris Larson, a fintech veteran who understood compliance as much as code. Together, they brought their plan to Fugger. He gave them the green light. OpenCoin was born. In their cramped San Francisco office above a taqueria, the team, now joined by cryptographer David Schwartz, worked under flickering fluorescent lights. They pushed code into the night, dreaming of a network where value moved like email. From those nights came the XRP ledger and its native token, XRP. Lean, fast, and borderless. When the rebrand to Ripple came in 2015, it wasn't just a name change. It was a statement. This was no hobbyist coin. This was the next layer of global finance. The XRP ledger was live and fast. Every few seconds, it closed another ledger, locking in global consensus. David Schwartz would explain it like a magician revealing a trick. Send your money in here. It turns into XRP, flies across the world, turns back into your currency, all in seconds. The first live corridors, Mexico and the Philippines, proved it worked. Families received remittances instantly without the $30 fees that had stolen from them for years.
I think we're going to see a dramatic change over the next 10.
What y'all think about the Epstein emails and XRP and Bitcoin? You know, it's going to be a lot of blowback regarding that.
The White House calls a crypto and banks meeting and bringing them all to the table. And we're going to talk about why this meeting could decide the future of crypto, the future of stable coins. A lot of things still in flux right now with market structure bill. But again, White House calling a big meeting today, this afternoon, 1 p.m. Eastern, bringing in crypto, the big banks, and one meeting today could potentially turn the tides for the United States and the cryptocurrency market. And again, the White House bringing together crypto companies, the top companies, and major banks into the same room later this afternoon as the stalled crypto market structure bill needs resolved. And a real fight here is over stablecoin yields. If you remember, this is what held up the market structure bill in the previous weeks. Folks, Brian Armstrong did not like this bill at all, and he did not hide his feelings.
Let's go, baby. Let's get that bounce.
And that is one of the big reasons why we're back here at the table. We're still talking about getting this thing pushed through. But overall, this isn't just about politics, right? This directly impacts a lot of the big institutions. When we talk about stable coins, one of the big things we have to talk about is yield-bearing stable coins. The ability to almost treat stable coins like a money market. And the issue here is big banks have their own traditional money market. They don't like this because now, what's to say crypto can't compete with them or even offer a slightly better percentage? So you're dealing with the big banks on one hand saying, hey, you're impacting traditional, money markets, and you got stable coins like USDC with Circle. It's a big part of their business model over at Coinbase. But it's also going to be impacting DeFi yields, tokenized dollars, and whether the United States stays crypto competitive for years and decades to come.
Let's go. Let's get that bounce.
Let's
get that bounce.
This new SEC regime came in, there was a ton of
that bounce in the market.
All these companies going overseas and being able to innovate over there, and the United States just wasn't ready to fully adopt crypto. And we're further along than where we were in 2020, 2021. There's no doubt about it. But we're still at a roadblock on some of these major issues. So again, the White House meeting today with Coinbase. They're meeting with Ripple, XRP, and Circle. And Wall Street banking groups like American Bankers Association will be there. The goal here is to break a deadlock over how stablecoin yield should be treated under U.S. law. This is significant, by the way, because crypto firms and banks fundamentally disagree on one major thing, and that is, should stablecoins be allowed to generate yield for users? So stablecoins like USDC.
And I think that they should. And this is one of the big fights with the bank because this cuts out the banking model because they won't be able to get fees and to lend out your deposits. And so that's what the big fight is about, because if the banks don't get that, then it's finito for the banks. They're going bye-bye. All right. And so that's what he's saying about that meeting that Donald Trump called between the banks and the crypto industry to to try to come between some common ground and this and that, so they can go ahead and get this Clarity Act passed or whatnot. So that's what he's talking about.
Right now are backed by treasury bills and cash. Those treasuries, what do? They earn yield. The question is, who gets the yield? The bank's position is this: they don't want stablecoin issuers or users earning yield because it competes with bank deposits. It threatens their own lending model, and it pulls money out of the TradFi system. From their perspective, if it looks like a bank deposit and earns yield, it should be regulated by a bank. And crypto has a different position. Crypto firms argue that stablecoins are not bank deposits. They're different. Yield comes from treasuries. There's no lending risk. Users should benefit, not just issuers or banks. And I think what the banks are really afraid of is that once people figure this out, crypto has a better model. It's a safer model. And the big banks don't want this.
And it does, because you can collect fees yourself. Those fees that those banks are collecting, you can collect those yourself. You know, takes out the middleman, because they're giving you what, 2, 3, 4 cents on interest, and while they're getting $30, $40, $50 off their deposits. Nah. So that's why crypto is, the markets and everything is, the reset is going to crypto. And this is why crypto education for the individual user, retail user, is very important. Because not only will you get scammed, but you need to know how to generate income and make money with your crypto. Because it's more than just buying and holding, okay? You can make money off your crypto. I do it every day without trading, okay? You can yield for them. You can put in liquidity pools. You can lend it out and gain interest, get collateral, etc. So all kinds of things you can do with the crypto, all right? Let's go back to Zach Humphries.
To get out. And this is the same fight we've seen with money market funds, fintech savings apps, tokenized treasuries.
At the highest level. That these issues do matter, and that is important. Banks feel threatened, which means crypto's working. The United States understands that this is about financial opportunities, not just about some regulation. Remember, China is building digital finance rails here right now. Europe already has MiCA, and the United States can't afford paralysis by analysis. They need to get moving. Stablecoins are the battleground, not Bitcoin. And funny enough, it's not even meme coins. It's stable coins. So the meeting today matters more than price action today, because we're watching the future of stablecoin yields, the shape of U.S. crypto regulation, and whether crypto is going to be adopted and tolerated here in the United States. So no matter what, no matter how this shakes out, regulatory clarity is closer than it's ever been. And that long-term is constructive for this market. If you guys got some value, let me know your thoughts down below. Sign up to my free newsletter.
I agree with what Zach says on this part right here because, and those who are in early, your life's going to be changed. Those who are skeptical, they'll be in the same position, same spot. All right, so let's see here. White House crypto meeting kicks off in 30 minutes. That was 3 hours ago. That's what Zach Humphreys was talking about. All right, let's see what CZ had to say.
A lot of crypto these days?
No, I don't trade
at all.
I don't trade. I hold Bitcoins. I hold BNB.
Okay.
I don't do day trading. I don't buy and sell. I don't try to time the market. I'm just not good at that. Years ago, like 10, 20 years ago, I tried that. Lost money. Just figured I'm a developer. I build systems. I don't trade.
So do you have any thought, though, real quick, on just like the price of Bitcoin and where this is all headed? Do you think we're in a winter, a summer, a cycle? Are you with Kathy Wood, who thinks it's going to turn into $1 million a coin?
So whenever people ask that question, I always got to ask them, what's the time frame you're looking at? If you're looking at today, tomorrow.
I agree on the holding part, especially in this market. Maybe in the past, not so much, but right now, yeah.
On a daily basis, there's no way I can predict. If you look at a 5-10-year horizon, it's very easy to predict. We're going to go up. If you look at a 1-year horizon, which is like what the most sort of common framework is, 2026, I'm not sure. You may be. I think I have very strong feelings that it will probably be a super cycle.
Be a super cycle.
2026, yeah.
For Bitcoin.
For Bitcoin.
And what super cycle to you means what?
Well, normally Bitcoin follows 4-year cycles historically. If you look at historic data, baby. Like every 4 years, there's a all-time high and then there's a drop. But I think this year, given the U.S. being so pro-crypto and every other country is kind of following, I do think we will see this. We will probably break the 4-year cycle.
And I agree with CZ. We'll break the 4-year cycle. It's broken already because we should have already, seen new all-time highs last December, etc. But we didn't because the super cycle is here, and institutions are here, and this is what everybody wanted, so we have to wait. And there's nothing wrong with being patient and waiting. Nothing at all. Let's look back here. I'm sitting here chilling.
You said it is the coin to be looking at right now.
Absolutely.
Why?
Okay, so Ripple actually was the second largest coin prior to the SEC's investigation of them. They did this really weird lawsuit against them, and basically the Ripple's going to be the track that everything's going to be running on in the future. So they created their own stable coin right now.
Okay.
And Bank of America, like I said, they were doing 100% of their internal transactions. They've got 83 different patents on it, and there's some incredible stuff that's going to be coming out. So.
Another one you like is Ripple. You said it is the coin to be looking at right now.
Absolutely.
Why?
Okay, so Ripple actually was the second largest coin prior to the SEC's investigation of them. They did this really weird lawsuit against them, and basically the Ripple's going to be the track that everything's going to be running on in the future. So they created their own stable coin right now.
Okay.
And Bank of America, like I said, they were doing 100% of their internal transactions. They've got 83 different patents on it, and there's some incredible stuff that's going to be coming out. So.
Yep, and I've been knowing about that for over a decade. I had my brother works at Bank of America.
Another one you like.
So he was saying buy crypto. So he told me buy crypto, and he said he liked my holdings and to keep stacking them. That was it. So I did. Let's see, Bitcoin goes public on the New York Stock Exchange. So this is what I was talking about being mentioned in the Epstein files.
Until the head of the PayPal mafia, who I believe is absolutely involved, in fact, we know he is, in regards to OpenCoin that then became Ripple and Stellar. I think it could be behind this industry more broadly. I just think that could be the case because he's a genius. And the individual revolutionized money once before with PayPal. Talking about that, this is a post from David Schwartz. I hate to be a conspiracy theorist, but I wouldn't be at all surprised if this is just the tip of the iceberg. And he quotes the justice.gov website. And this is what we have. This is between Epstein and Austin Hill. Hi guys, we obviously have seen www.stellar.org. I'm not sure what the relationship with Jed and the team are. I know obviously some of the players, but this is a problem for us. Would one of you please give me a call at, it's blocked out. I can explain some of the issues, but basically I've been asked by the other co-founders to reduce or take your allocation away. Ripple and Jed's new Stellar are bad for the ecosystem we are building, and it does our company damage to have investors who are backing two horses in the same race. Who's backing? Is that a reference to Epstein backing both of these projects? David Schwartz adds, sad part is we really are all in this together, and this kind of attitude hurts everyone in the space. Wow. Pretty crazy stuff
So as you can see, XRP is the one. It never was Bitcoin, man. It was always XRP. So all the XRP Stellar haters, I think that this crash is for the institutions and the elite to buy more XRP. It's not Bitcoin, but it's XRP. It's Stellar. It's HBAR. It's all the ISO 2020 coins, Ondo, etc. So do your own research, though. Okay, do your own research. I like this crypto right here, Digibyte. I have some of that, but it's something that I do have long-term hold on. See right here what they're talking about. Breaking: Trump Media Group to launch another token. Today's, according, this must be the Saudi Arabia deal. They had their podcast, ZBet podcast. Missed that one. Let's see what Kathy Wood got to say.
For a fall, because the last two times it was anywhere near this was in the massive inflation, so double-digit inflation in the 70s, early 80s. And before that, the Great Depression, when gold, well, the dollar was devalued in gold terms from 20.67 to 35. That's a 70% devaluation. That's like emerging market kind of devaluation, right? Back in 1934, January 31st, 1934, the government confiscated private gold, didn't allow any more private ownership of gold, and money supply collapsed. Now, we're not in anything like either of those two worlds, and yet gold is where it is. I think if I were a betting person, and I can't give it.
Man, I'm gonna tell y'all right now, gold is going to 10K and higher. Silver is going to $1,000. All right, so do with that as you will. Do what you will with that. All right, do what you will with that.
Advice necessarily, but I would make a shift from gold into Bitcoin, because I do think the knocks on Bitcoin in the last year have been stable coins are taking some of the role that Bitcoin was going to play in emerging markets. That's true. But that's not forever. That's just for the equivalent of a checking account. When they want real savings, they're going to buy Bitcoin, we believe, especially if it's a $1.5 million price target in 2030. That's our bull case.
So $1 million by 2030. It'd probably be before then, but I can agree with that. I can definitely agree with that. Boom. Fedgate, 1 trillion Fed scam exposed. Insider drops bombshell. Federal Reserve is just a giant hedge fund now. Let's check this out.
The Fed basically has become now just a giant hedge fund. It's lost $1 trillion, and counting. It's going to be a gigantic loss. What it does is borrows money at 5.4% from banks and then dumps it into government bonds. So think what that trade does. That causes the government to think that it's better off than it is. And so that encouraged the government to be short when rates were zero. So why did the government, borrow so much in T-bills? Well, because the Fed was buying the bonds and it made it look like yields were going to stay low for remember the low for long phrase. So we've got these multiple problems that are going on, and it endangers the dollar. So that's the basic case.
Instead of the Fed having such large balances, wouldn't the private sector be starting businesses and risking capital and bringing returns and adding to growth? Wouldn't all that money be better if it wasn't with the Fed?
That's right, and we're depending on private equity. So as the banks get squeezed out, because they're lending so much to the Fed, it's literally a floating rate loan from banks to the Federal Reserve so it can buy government bonds. So if that were freed up, that would allow the banks to at least consider a small business loan, an inventory loan, the kinds of things that help the economy grow. And this is on a global basis. It's not just the Fed. It's all the major central banks doing the same thing, meaning taking money from the economy in order to buy government bonds. We need to be clear on that. I heard the previous segment, they talk about money printing. There isn't any money printing on it. It's just money borrowing, and they pay top dollar for it. The Fed pays 5.4 to banks and 5.3 to money market funds, so to the Fidelity and Vanguard and so on.
You think that
big hedge fund, huh? More Epstein files. See what Brad talking about.
You're right that institutional adoption of XRP ledger technologies is growing. I think part of it is just the heritage of the XRP ledger that was built around enterprise and financial applications. Cross-border payments was the product that the XRP ledger was originally built for. What we were looking at back in those very, very early days was how would there be enterprise adoption of, Bitcoin was the only cryptocurrency at the time. What we think is how would there be enterprise adoption of Bitcoin? There would have to be bridges and connections, and there'd have to be, these other technologies. As far as trends in the way it's moving, real-world asset tokenization, I think, is something that I'm pretty excited about right now, because that's a real problem, and there's real interest from mainstream financial giants like J.P. Morgan and Bank of America are actively pursuing tokenization of traditional assets. So I think that's an area to watch, and I think that's an area where the XRP ledger is going to excel. Yeah, you're right that institutional adoption of XRP ledger technologies is growing. I think part of it is
get ready, XRP Army. Get ready to explode. After they get finished manipulating the markets, we are going to explode. The question isn't if XRP becomes a reserve currency. The question is how fast can the world adopt it before the dollar goes bust. Interesting.
China now are doing an oil contract in Chinese currency. Now, SWIFT is essentially the way that you can trade dollars around the world. If you're cut off from SWIFT as a sovereign country, you're cut off from the dollar, and you need to find other ways of doing financing. Now, certainly, places like China now are doing an oil contract in Chinese currency. You've also have all of these central banks in emerging markets, and in countries that are having difficulties with the US, start to buy gold aggressively, and they're getting out of US treasuries. And so what you're seeing here is maybe this dollar standard that replaced the gold standard now slowly start to dissipate as the US starts to look at the dollar as being a weapon. Now this is and I can imagine in the next 5 years, instead of us doing sterling against the dollar or sterling against yen and doing these kinds of transactions, we'll do sterling versus Ripple. And the reason being, dollar right now is a 2-day settlement. With something like Ripple, you could do settlement in seconds. And I think that there's a future there where the guy that's trading spot FX today will be trading spot FX against Ripple in the future, in the next 2 or 3 years. So I think that Ripple has a great future because it's right now supported by all the banks and by all the regulators.
And it has an elastic monetary base, right?
So
Well,
if we take that and you go to the blockchain ledger, if you take that concept that you're discussing, I have no problem with it. I agree with it. But you're talking about money. You're talking about transaction, medium of exchange. There has to be something behind it, and that's where I'm going to pull this conversation back to gold. There has to be some sort of reserve asset.
I agree. XRP, that reserve asset.
Countries with clients. We have an expansive network that enables back, and you think about Citi, and you think about our Treasury and Trade Solutions business. We're in over 90 countries with clients. We have an expansive network that enables our clients to manage their liquidity, manage their payments, manage financings and vendors, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
What clients really want is the ability to be multi-border, multi-asset, and be able to do these things 24/7
And
all
it
the
sounds
time.
like a stable coin
And our
makes
token
sense for that.
services business, our Citi token services business, enables our clients to do those things, and we're continuing to invest in that. Where stablecoin comes in is with this Genius Act. I think it creates an opportunity for us to be able to serve people who will be issuing stable coins and to have an option for those clients that we serve today.
Yeah,
whether it be
certainly.
reserving, whether it be on and off ramping, conversion from coin to cash, those are services we'll be able to provide. So we view that as an opportunity for us, but we feel very good about the competitive advantage we have with our network and with our Citi token services.
Absolutely.
All these institutions jumping into the crypto blockchain market. Says the mask just slipped in Davos. Reports from the Wall Street Journal confirmed that Jamie Dimon of JP Morgan Chase went scorched earth on Brian Armstrong during a heated exchange over the Clarity Act. When Brian called out big banks for lobbying to kill stablecoin rewards, Dimon reportedly told him he was full of shit right in front of former Prime Minister Tony Blair. When they're scared, the yield gaps banks pay 0.01% on savings. Coinbase offers 3.5% on stablecoins. The Trump factor, the admin is fast-tracking a crypto-first regulatory framework that ends the era of debanking. Competition. For the first time, banks are facing a legislative rug pull that forces them to actually compete for your deposits. And this is a good thing. You know, salute to Brian Armstrong. Banks want to pay you shit while they make money off of your deposits. So, you know, kudos to him.
It changes the nature of how we view what totally changes the nature of what social media are. It changes the nature of how we view what cyberspace is, what the internet is. That's what we're talking about. And I didn't even finish. Not only do I want us to be able to have these shared worlds, they have to connect to each other. We have 1 million shared worlds, but just without thinking about it, you wave your hand and part of your world is a part of Wikipedia. It appears like it's part of your world, even though it's actually over there in a different shared world. And when it changes, the changes propagate to yours invisibly. Or you just wave your hand and create a stock market, but people are going to buy, or an auction house, you know, an eBay. But people are going to be buying and selling using real money. What's the real money? Oh, it's a cryptocurrency that's managed in some other shared world. But you just invisibly link them together. Everybody is linked invisibly, and you don't have to think about it. This is what we're talking about. And under the hood, there's constantly checking digital signatures and hashes and everything to make sure you're never lured into a false one. This is the vision for the future. This is where we have to get to. Now, it's a different vision than what motivates other people. Everyone has their own vision of what motivates them. And of course, this will incorporate everything else. We will have a cryptocurrency in this vision. We will have distributed autonomous organizations. We will have smart contracts, all that stuff. But that's not the vision.
That's
This
just
is the
part of
vision.
it. I mean, you're
That's
talking
part
about
of
you're talking about an entirely new social organization for a digital society.
Exactly. And so it just changes the whole nature of what you view. And I think kids born 20 years from now will
Inch?
It's substantial.
More than 100 million?
Absolutely.
More than 500 million?
Probably.
That growth in crypto riches has coincided with Trump's second term in office.
We believe in cryptocurrency.
How much crypto do you have in?
But y'all don't want to invest in crypto.
XRP Ledger app?
Yes, so I would say XRP Ledger has really been built for business, built for powering real-world financial use cases. First and foremost, starting with payments, but now what we're seeing is really for use cases to expand beyond that. You see a lot of RWA tokenization use cases, and just really like, a tool and core infrastructure to bring more of the financial world or financial activity we see in the real world on chain, to remove frictions, build efficiencies, create values for us all, frankly.
So what do you think needs to happen? Like what other challenges do we need to overcome to get to that point where everyone's more financially included?
Yeah, so there's a couple of pieces that still need to fall in place, I would say, on the regulatory front. And look, we've demonstrated with Ripple that you can use blockchain technology today in a way that's compatible with compliance frameworks, and we're doing that, as said before, in the billions of dollars every year in terms of doing payments way at a fraction of the cost and the time than in legacy systems. So it's possible, right? I think if we want to enlarge and see more, like there's over $1 quadrillion of financial assets off-chain, and if you want to see, 10% of that coming on-chain, we have like maybe 150 billion in terms of stablecoin so far. Regulation, I would say, is a key piece in terms of surveys we're doing for more of TradFi to come on-chain, but that's now starting to really fall more in place. Think of MiCA in Europe or Singapore or UAE, where you see frameworks really emerging. And so I do expect that we're really at the start of a paradigm shift whereby blockchain technology is really going beyond much of the hype and really into utility and powering financial activity much more going forward.
Okay, so
I believe all that money is going to come onto the blockchain too as well, to XRP.
Little contrarian, but Tom DeMark is our advisor at Bitmine in terms of crypto. He's been since mid-November saying Bitcoin would go to 77 and Ethereum at 2,400. So he's been waiting for what he calls time and price to align. This weekend, he believes we reached that alignment. So all the pieces are in place for crypto to be bottoming right now, because we're getting the level and enough time has passed. So I think as long as crypto fundamentals are good, which is the case, Ethereum active addresses is going parabolic right now, and activity. Part of it is, of course, Wall Street is building up digital assets and converging those businesses. If that's the case, then crypto prices should follow.
So if
I'm going to say something.
I think we're going to have more downside. I think we're going to hit at least the 60s, maybe 50s before we get a bounce. I think we'll get a pump up to about maybe 91, and then it's going to come back down. That's what I think. So MasterCard is moving Ripple from concept to execution. Stablecoins treated as native currency on the MasterCard network. RLUSD and XPRL is being piloted for real card settlement. AI-driven agent pay will sit on top of these rails. Interesting. The Ondo Summit tomorrow. If you don't have Ondo, you need to get you some Ondo. RWA tokenization is on Ondo. Okay, that's why you need to get you some Ondo, real world assets. This Ripple news. Let me see what Garland House got to say. Where'd it go? See, this is what they want you to do right here, so you can sell your crypto.
Which, as a result of that, eventually
This is what they want.
will materialize in financial freedom and opportunities for people to participate in things that today they couldn't. And I think it's time for this industry to admit that we haven't been successful at doing that. We've all said as an industry that this technology is going to bring efficiencies of a whole different scale, which, as a result of that, eventually.
Next pin. Let's go. All right, y'all. I just wanted to show y'all we're still in these